Hey, how you doing today? I am Tequila Coleman, best-selling author, certified life coach, and founder of GodOrdainedMarriages.com. Hey, Tania, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Listen, if this is your first time joining us on our live stream, welcome, say hello, let me know where you're tuning in from. And also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and also turn on your notification button below by clicking that little bell right below the video. Turn on your notification button so that you can receive notifications when I go live again. Okay. Now, today we are talking about 7 ways to prepare for marriage while single. Okay. So these 7 ways that I'm going to share with you on the things you could be doing now to help yourself get prepared for marriage. These are the 7 things I have done in my own life. Okay. For those of you who don't know, I used to be married. I got married at a very early age. I believe I was 21 at the time. And right after, the divorce came, the marriage came to an end, it seemed like God just threw me right back into preparation, and I just been working on myself ever since. So we're going to talk about these 7 ways on how to prepare for marriage while single. So if you are ready, drop a 1 in the comment section. Let me know if you are ready for these 7 ways on how to prepare for marriage. Now, let me also say, because I also recognize that we have some wives in waiting who also are a part of our community. And I've been getting some questions, from some of the ladies a part of our community asking, like, what are some things that they could be doing right now while they are single, to help prepare themselves for marriage. So this is another reason why I wanted to do this live and just to give some insight and understanding into what all goes into this process. Now, even though I'm sharing 7 ways, it's more. Okay, I just cut it off at 7. Okay, but these are the 7. These 7, they are a good starting point. Okay. And I'm going to hit on a few things that I don't really hear most people talking about when we talk about preparing, singles for marriage. Okay. So, hey, Rose, thank you for joining us this afternoon. All right. So, number 1, the first way on how to prepare for marriage while single is I want you to start now valuing your body. Okay. We're gonna just jump right into this. Okay. Start now valuing your body. What does this mean? What does it mean? Here's what I'm referring to when I say start now valuing your body. Okay. Make up in your mind that I'm in preparation, mode. God has me in my preparation season. I'm believing God, for him to bring my God ordained spouse into my life. So I'm getting prepared. I'm getting ready, which also means I'm no longer having sex. I'm no longer fornicating. I'm about to cut off all of these exes, all of these male friends that are, that love to just call me up and talk to me. How sometimes we have these male friends and you may not have like a sexual interest in them. You probably just see them as a friend. However, they have an interest in you, right? And so they hang around in the background. And that is what I'm referring to. Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself in my note. But these individuals, we're going to just put this with 1 and 2, because number 2 is cut off and let go of all relationship of the opposite sex. But here's the thing. You want to start valuing your body now, okay? Because the Bible say our body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, right? So when we fornicate, understand what is happening, what we are doing. If we call ourselves believers in Christ, we have now moved into a space of grieving the Holy Spirit, right? When we fornicate, when you start masturbating, or whatever you're doing to your body, right? If you're sinning against your own body, that grieves the Holy Spirit, right? And so, and it also, brings about soul ties, right? Unhealthy soul ties, right? That you can just really prevent yourself from, just being entangled in, right? So I want everyone to start off with valuing your body. Place higher value on your body. If this isn't your husband, he should not be getting husband benefits. Like, really, okay? We have to become women. Okay, the Bible referred to us as wives, right? We are wives in waiting, and you become his wife when he make you his wife. So until this individual asks for your hand in marriage, close the cookie jar. Okay, value your body. Okay, you have to start practicing this stuff out now. Okay. So that's number one. You want to start valuing your body. Number two, like I said, you want to cut off and let go of all relationship with the opposite sex that's not going anywhere. Okay. I always had this mindset, right? To where I don't allow, just exes to just hang around. Like, other than my children's father, outside of them, because they are the father of, my children. Outside of them, I don't allow exes to just hang around. We just still cool. We hanging out. They coming over. We going out on dates. I don't do that, because you want to know why? This is what I discovered. When you allow, people from your past, exes, right? When you allow even men, your male friends that you're not interested in, we as women, and I believe men operate this way as well, you already know if you are interested in this individual, right? Hey, Lakia, thanks for joining us this afternoon. You already know when if you are interested in this particular man, right? You know if you're attracted to him. Based off the conversation, if you can see yourself with this individual, right? So if the answer is no, if you still like, I don't know, you still like kind of questioning it, go on and cut that off. Let it go. Because when we hold on to these, relationship, these male friends, we think they're our friend when really they just waiting on an opportunity where we have a weak moment, opportunity when you're vulnerable, right? For them to just move on in, right? But when we fail to cut off these relationships, it turns into baby daddies, right? It turns into situationship that you should have never been in, right? So I always, I just always been this way, to where I'm like, once the relationship come to an end, it's over. It's no dipping back. It's no coming back. It's over, right? We had our run. Okay, it didn't work out. You were X for a reason, so I'm gonna let you stay back there, right? That has always been my mindset, right? And like I said, I learned when you hold on to these male friends, it would turn into like this male friend who was never supposed to be a lifetime in your life. When you hold on to these certain relationships, you might have a weak moment, or you might be vulnerable one day, and now, this is your baby's father. And it should have never went that far, right? Or you have entangled yourself in a situation ship that now God is calling you out of. And now you got to take the time to heal, because you got your heart tangled all up in this mess, right? So to avoid it, cut it all off, okay? Rose said, me neither. An ex has always been an ex to me. Right. Boy, back. Exactly. Right. Even with my ex-husband, when even before the divorce, because we separated and then we divorced, I think like 2 or 3 years later, it was never a dip back. Like one, we both went our separate ways. That was it. That was it. And I always been that way, So, cut off all these relationships, let go, and then I always had the mindset too that you're acting, as if whatever it is you're believing for, right? So if I'm believing that God is going to connect me with my spouse, I have to get everyone out of my spouse's position, right? I got to remove these individuals out of his space, right? And sometimes when you have still when you're still connected to like an ex, or it could be a male friend, that can serve as a blocker, right? To where your spouse can be standing right in front of you, but because you're still connected, or you're still holding on to this ex, or your heart and mind is still focused on this ex, it will now blind you into seeing your spouse that is standing right before you. So again, Okay, we can avoid all of this just by clearing out that space. Okay, make room. Okay, so number 2 is cut off these relationships and let them go. Number 3, you want to start building your relationship up with God. Okay, and here's why you want to start building your relationship up with God, because we're talking about God ordained marriages, right? And if you're believing for God to, bring the man he has for you in your life, you have to know, you have to hear God's voice. You have to hear him when he tell you, you know, that's your husband. Because God, from my experience, he's going to present the wife to her husband, right? And he will also, begin to speak to you and tell you, that's your husband. He'll give you confirmations, right? But if you don't know his voice, you're going to miss it. It might take you a little bit longer to discern if this is the one, right? So we want to start now while we are single, learning God's voice. Let's start with the basic. Let's learn God's voice. Start praying and asking God to teach me your voice. Teach me how to discern your voice from the enemy, right? And God would teach you this, right? He goes about it different ways. But one of the ways how God taught me his voice, because God speaks to me in like repetition, or like in threes, right? So every time, if I pray to God for something, I always ask God to give me a confirmation that is him, right? I'll be like, just in case I miss it, give me a confirmation, Lord, right? And he'll give me a confirmation. Then I go right back and say, one more confirmation, right? That's how he started teaching me his voice, because he will continue to give me confirmation after confirmation after confirmation, right? Another way how he taught me his voice is through peace. Now, yes, he taught me through peace. Whenever my spirit is at peace, or whenever I go into an environment, or whenever I'm around a certain person and my spirit is at peace, right? I know, okay, it's like a green light, it's a go. But what I didn't realize is that when you're a prophet, right, peace is what God placed on the inside of us, right? We need peace. He built us like this, because peace is how God speaks to us. I didn't even know this, right? I just learned this like last year, right? So he uses that, to help guide us back to our peaceful space where we can begin to hear him, a little bit louder, right? But peace is another way how God was using to help me to discern his voice. Okay. So just begin to pray and ask God, help me or teach me your voice. And he will. Okay. But you got to learn his voice. You want to learn his voice in this season. Okay. Another thing I recommend for you to be doing when we talk about building your relationship up with the Lord is practice being in daily communication with the Lord. So prayer, it's communication with God, right? Every time you pray, that don't mean you got to be sitting down on your knees, with your hands like this. No, you could be in the shower and just talking to God, right? You could talk to him in your mind, right? You talk to him in your head. You could talk to him out loud. You could sing to God. You could praise God, But I want you to get in the habit of talking to God every single day, being in daily communication with God, because this is another way how we start building that relationship up with the Lord, right? And he likes that, and he will begin to talk back to you. Okay. I know at nighttime when the kids go to sleep and I have to turn off the TV. I need complete silence. That's when God, he just be going. It's like he be writing a book. So that's when I can hear him clearly. And I write down everything he's saying to me. And then if I have questions, I ask him the questions right back, so we going back and forth. We in communication with one another. So that's something you want to start doing now while you are single. Another thing is I recommend for you to start growing in your knowledge of God. Now, everyone's starting point might not be with the Bible, right? I know it wasn't for me. My starting point with God, I didn't start just opening up the Bible, reading. I didn't start just going to church and understanding what the preacher was saying. That wasn't my starting point. My starting point was reading. Wait a minute. was reading books by Joel Osteen, Joyce Myers, right? I was and it was more so Joyce Myers. I was purchasing these kind of books, right? And I would read them, and because they wrote their books in a way where I understood what they were saying and they incorporated the, scriptures in their book, that was my starting point, right? And as I began to read the book, I began to get I began to get some of those scriptures in my spirit. That led from that their books led to me listening to my pastor over the radio, right? So my pastor at that time, he's around my age, and he preached in a way where I can understand him. So I would listen to him while I was at work, on the radio, right? Every single day, Monday through Friday. And that was my starting point. After I did this for a year, once that year was up, that's when I joined the church, and then I started reading my Bible. Okay. So I want you to pick your starting point. Okay. That's going to help you to grow your knowledge in God. Like I said, everyone's starting point, it might not be what you just opened up the Bible and reading it, because everyone doesn't understand the Bible. When you're reading thou shall, you're like, what does this mean? Right. So that might not be where God is calling for you to start at, right? So you have to find your starting point. What is resonating with me right now? Like I said, for me, it was Joyce Myers' books. It was Joel Osteen's book, right? Just reading these type of book, it helped get some of that the scriptures in me. It helped to it just helped. Okay, it helped me to grow closer to the Lord, and it just started building from there. Okay, so you want to take the time out while you're single to start building your relationship up with the Lord. Okay, because here's the thing: God isn't going to give you the spouse He has for you if you don't desire that relationship with Him. You see what I'm saying? So God is like, okay, before I give you the man I have for you or the wife I have for you, I want you to build this relationship up with me first. Okay. I want you to learn me first before I give you this spouse, right? The same way how we take the time out to learn and get to know, people, God is like, learn me, get to know me, build an intimate relationship with me first, right? And then in that, it's things that God want to reveal to you, it's things that God want you to work on, improve in, things of that nature. Okay. Number 4, the fourth way on how to prepare for marriage while single is you want to take the time out to heal. Okay. You have to go through this inner healing and deliverance process. And it might be a season for you. Okay. And let me just say this: healing, this is just my thoughts. I don't believe like you arrive to like 100% healed, right? I don't really believe that. I believe we can get up to in the 90% mark or whatever, but healing is a everyday job, right? We got to work at that's my belief. We have to work at this every single day, because think about it: every day when you're interacting with people, when you're at work, or at school or wherever, you're just interacting with people. People can say things to us they don't even know. It can offend you, it can hurt your feelings, right? People can behave in ways that make you feel rejection, right? So this is why I don't believe healing is like 100%. It's an everyday thing we have to work towards. Okay. Hey Raquel, she said, wow, build an intimate relationship with God first. Yeah, that is key. That is key, because He is the one that's going to guide you, the women. He's the one who's going to present the wives to their husband. And I'm going to talk more about other things, how God, what God is going to do in this process. But yeah, we want to take the time out to heal your heart. You want to take the time out to heal your past, heal from that bitterness, the resentment, heal your mother and father wounds, begin to identify your triggers. Okay. You want to take the time out now to heal, because again, you don't want to take all of this into your marriage. Okay. What God is joining together, let no man, let no heartbreak, let nothing from your past separate it, right? So again, we got to take the time out now while we're single to go through this healing process, right? And God, and you can ask God, you can pray and ask God, God, show me what I need to deal with, right? Because sometimes we're not even aware. I know the other day, this was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, one of my neighbors, it's an older lady, I think she's a little bitter and probably don't like children, but she was out here outside, saying some mean things to my children while they were playing outside. And without even thinking, okay, I was on her head, okay, and I didn't touch her or anything, but I just let her know in so many ways, like, listen, if you have anything to say to my children, you say it to me. You do not say anything to my children, right? And but my response concerned me, right? So later on that night, I was like, God, I was like, I literally saw red. I didn't see her, right? Like when I was saying what I was saying to her, I was like, I didn't see or hear anything this woman was saying. I was like, what was up with that? Why did I respond so angrily like that? Is it anger issues? And God gave me a dream. He gave me a dream that same night. And in the dream, he revealed to me that the root to why I responded that way was rejection. It was a rejection wound that she triggered in me, right? And so I was like, wow, because I would have never connected the dots. I automatically assumed it was anger issues, but God was like, no, that's connected to rejection. So God was showing me this is something else you have to heal, during this season, right? So you can pray. You can ask God to show you what's in me that I need to deal with now. What about my past? Do I need to take the time out to heal now? Do I, have any childhood trauma that I need to, just take the time out to heal? Maybe I might have to go to therapy, just to help speed up this healing process, right? Whatever the case may be, you want to take this time out now to heal while you're single, okay? Because you don't want to take any of this stuff into your marriage. And again, I'm not saying you're going to be just 100% whole, but Raquel said, did you go back to her? No, when I was done, because she never said anything else to my children. But when she comes out now, she don't say anything. I think she got the message, and then I began to pray. I began to rebuke the spirit, that was in operation through her and everything. I think she got the message because I was very clear. One thing I don't like is bullies. And I don't like when people say things to my children. Say it to me. I'm the mother. Don't say it to my kids, right? Because she had my kids afraid to go outside and play, so I didn't like that. I was like, that spirit of fear. I was in my prayer closet binding it up, rebuking that intimidation spirit, that spirit of fear, right? But she never did say anything else to me or my children. But yeah, you want to take the time out now to heal from the rejection, heal from the mother and father wound. And when you're reading the Bible acts as a cleanser, right? It cleanses you, right? And when we take the time out to learn the lessons from our past, we begin to get new knowledge, get new information, right? That's another way how we move into that healing process, right? When we begin to change our thinking concerning, the hurt and pain, healing is coming about, okay? So you want to make sure, like I said, take the time out to heal. Whatever God is bringing up for you, for me, it was that rejection, and he gave me more insight on that as well. I was like, okay, I'll deal with it. I don't fight anything. I'm like, I'll deal with it. Okay, come on. So number 5, the 5th way on how you want to prepare for marriage is discover your purpose. So here's the thing. So when we talk about building your relationship up with the Lord, it's very key because God is who going to reveal to you, your purpose, right? Now, I always believe this. I believe it was the Lord who probably dropped this in my spirit at an early age, because I always just believe when you are in your purpose, this is when God is going to have you cross paths with your spouse. Okay. Now, when God allows the two of you to cross paths, you may not even know that's your spouse, right? He might just be making the introduction, joining the two of you together in friendship or whatever, right? God is very strategic, but I always believe when you are in purpose, now you're in alignment for what God has for you. Okay. So when we talk about discovering your purpose, here are some questions I want you to ask yourself to help you, get one step closer to discovering, and I shouldn't say your purpose, discovering your God-given purpose. Okay. Because God has a purpose and plan for your life. So the plan you have already written out for your life, you want to ask God, is this the same plan you have for my life? Because if not, and I follow my plan, now I'm getting myself out of alignment with God. If God is telling me to go to the right, but my plan said go to the left, I would never get what God has for me. So we always want to make sure that we are asking God, what are the plans you have for my life? What is my God-given purpose? That's what I want, right? And God will reveal it to you, but you want to ask yourself these questions. Number one, what has God given you a burden for? Right. So, in the beginning, before God revealed what my purpose was, I always had a desire to motivate women. Right. I always wanted to empower women, encourage women, things of that nature. And then I remember back in 2015 because God revealed my purpose to me through visions. It was like images in my mind, right? And then it was almost as if he placed a burden on the inside of me for single mothers, right? So there's a burden. I have a burden on the inside of me. I don't like to see single mothers struggling. If I hear of a single mother living in a hotel or she's homeless, I don't like that, right? He just giving me a burden for single moms, right? And so that was connected to my calling. That was connected to my purpose, right? And so you want to begin to take a look at what has God given me a burden for. Maybe for you, God has given you a burden for children, right? Maybe God, has given you a burden for just bringing about justice in your community. Whatever the case may be, you want to begin to identify, like, what is this burden? And that burden, the way how I can describe it, it doesn't go away. It's something you want to see change happen in. So again, with the single moms, and them being homeless, I don't like it. I think no single mother who's raising her kids should be homeless out on the street. So that's something I want to see change happening in. Another thing is, seeing single moms struggling to take care of their kids. Again, that's why I'm all about holding these fathers accountable, right? Because God has given me that burden for that, right? So take a look at what has God given me a burden for. That's a clue to where God is calling you into. Another question is, what would you do for free? Now, some of you are, when before God shifted me over into the God ordained marriage assignment, some of the single moms I was already coaching and mentoring some of y'all for free, because I'm like, I want your life to improve, right? I want to see improvement, growth, right? And just getting better, right? And it's not even about money. See, when it's purpose, it's not about money, it's just about, getting better, it's about serving, right? So what is that thing you would do for free? And what comes natural to you? Now, I want you to focus in on this, okay? Because sometimes the very thing that comes natural to us to do, we overlook it. We automatically assume because I'm so good at it, because it just comes so natural to me, nah, this is not my purpose. It got to be something else, right? No. My story, before God began to give me this burden and reveal all these things to me, people, I used to, so I'll start here. I used to be a security officer, right? I did security for like 12 years. And um I worked at like one of the big automotive plants or whatever. So I always attracted, the engineer, CEOs in the building, they will always just stop at my desk and want to talk. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, why they always stopping here and talking to me? And then it wasn't a normal conversation. It was them pouring out their life to me. The conversation turned into counseling sessions, right? And each time, these individuals would say to me, I just love talking to you. You give great advice, right? You make me feel so much better after I talk to you, right? So they would say these things to me. And then I started noticing when I would go grocery shopping, right? Same thing would happen. People, I talk to anybody, you come up to me and you say one word, we're going to talk. So we could be at the grocery store. People does the same thing. Then we'll start talking, and then they pouring out their problems to me. And I'm coaching them right there on, in aisle 1 or whatever. Never realizing that, number one, God has gifted me with the gift of counsel, right? This is a gift. And which is why, these individuals was feeling this way. They felt so comfortable talking to me, because God has gifted me with that ability to make people who, in these particular situations to feel very comfortable with sharing this information with me, right? And I have the gift of mercy, right? So, but I didn't know all these things at that time, right? So all of these things, God was just showing me these are clues, Tequila, to the area that I'm calling you into. Okay. He was telling me to stop overlooking, I can't counsel because I don't have a degree in counseling, but he was basically telling me, your gifting is in giving advice. Your gifting is in, coaching others, right? Just allowing them to express themselves and just glean from me, right? And that could be something you're overlooking. You're like, how is giving this person advice is connected to my purpose easily? Okay, we see this all the time. We see this happening all the time, right? So begin to look at what comes natural to you, like my son, my oldest son. What comes natural to him? Like, he got entrepreneurship written all over him, and he know it because I speak it to him every single day. But the boy is good at dancing. He's good at football. He's good at all sports. Let me just say that. He's good with his hands. He's good with editing. And I sit back and I tell him, I call him CEO. Because that's what I see in him. I'm like, you got multiple talents, right? I can't box you in and say, just go into dancing. No, you have multiple talents, right? So, and I tell him that God created you to build your own business, in all of these different areas. And he also has the gift of counsel because now his peer groups are coming to him, for advice, right? And now I've been speaking to him about that as well. So you want to begin to take a look at what comes natural to me, what does people, they always seem to come to me for, because that is connected to your purpose. It's connected to your gifting, your talents. Okay. And you don't want to overlook it. And what do everyone say you're good at? Like, what is that one thing that everyone is always saying the same thing about you? For me, they kept on saying, you give great advice. I love talking to you. That's what I get all the time. I just love talking to you. You're easy to talk to. I get that all the time. So I already know, okay, there's a gift right here that's needed, right? And it's not for me to hide the gift. It's for me to put the gift out on display, right? Because your gift is the very thing God has created for you to, put out in the market to help his people. Okay, so we don't want to hide the gift. You want to put it out there and begin to allow your gift to make room for you. Okay. And then another thing, when we talk about purpose, because purpose helps to identify who your spouse is. Purpose reveals vision and direction, right? Now, here's something else. I think I started probably back in 2015. Yeah. So you know how while you're single, of course, you're going to have guys take interest in you, right? Now, here's how you could just cut down on, wasting your time out in this dating, arena. I always ask every guy who have an interest in me, I always ask them, if I haven't already identified it, what is your purpose? I always ask them that. If they can't answer it, because I'm in purpose, I know my purpose, I know where I'm going, right? And if the guy who is currently interested in me, if he can't answer this question, in my mind, I don't say it to him, but in my mind, he's not it. This not the one. Because I already know who God has for me. He's going to be in his purpose, and he's going to know what his purpose is. Okay. So I always ask the question, what is your purpose? Now, some guys, they might know their purpose and they might communicate it back to you. Remember, I said purpose reveals vision and direction, right? So when you hear these guys telling you what their purpose is, and let's say you know your purpose, right? So you know where you're heading, right? Now you want to listen to this man and see how does our purpose line up together? It don't got to be the same thing, but are we heading in the same direction? So I'll give you an example of what happened with me. So it was this one guy who took an interest in me a couple of years ago. He didn't know what his purpose was. But whenever I would ask him the question, what is your purpose? Or where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years, right? He would always say, I see myself marrying a good woman, both of us retiring from our job, taking 2 vacations per year. That's what he was saying. He'd say to me, and that sounds good. I'm not knocking it. However, because I know my purpose, because I know Tequila despises working at a job. Okay, like I'm just gonna be honest. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just talking about me. Jobs are not for Tequila. Okay, entrepreneurship is all over me. Okay, so when he said this to me, and I knew he was interested in me, I began to let him know in my own way, I'm not the one. I'm not your wife. And I told him why. I was like, because I don't see myself retiring from any job. I see myself in my purpose forever until God calls me home. You can't retire from purpose, right? That's something you don't retire from, because when you're in your purpose, it gives you fulfillment. You love it. And then when you're really in it, God is constantly changing your assignment. You can't box God in. He's changing your assignment. He's like, okay, so you completed the assignment over here. Now I need you over there, right? So you never retire him. And then, he was a great guy. Long story short, he was a great guy, but he wasn't my guy. He wasn't my purpose. We were heading, when he shared his vision, I said, oh, we will be going in different directions. Okay. And the Bible saying, can two walk together except they agree? We wouldn't agree on anything, because let's say I would have took him on as my husband, and now he's pushing me to go get a job to retire from it. I'm like, no. And I'm resisting and I'm fighting him, because I have this desire to build my business and do what God is calling me to do. You see how we'll be clashing, bumping head, it'll end in divorce. So purpose, this is why it starts first with you building this relationship with God, okay? Learning God's voice. When you learn God's voice, now he's talking to you. You're in relationship with God. You building that relationship with God. Now, now he's telling you, he's revealing to you pieces of your purpose, right? Your assignment. He's just revealing things about you, right? The more you learn about yourself, the more, you're going to like really just walk into your purpose, okay? And when you know your purpose, right, that communicates vision, direction, where you're going. It also helps to reveal who your spouse is. Okay, so it just saves you a lot of time with just dating all these random guys, And I know for me, when I ask the question, what is your purpose? If they can't answer it, you out. If they answer it, I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm already in my mind determining, are we headed in the same direction? If not, I don't think this is it, right? So, hey Sierra, hey Kylie, I think that's how you pronounce it. Facebook user said, I get told this all of the time. Attract all types of people with my mercy gift. Oh yeah, you gotta be careful with that. Which has also been hard because of all the broken people I attract. But yes, but see, that's I can relate to that. People with the gift of mercy, we're going to attract broken people. Now I'm glad you are aware of this, okay? Because they are attracted to your gifts, okay? That gift of mercy. And what I believe I heard Dr. Miles Monroe say this. I'm gonna just paraphrase what he said, but I remember him saying something to the extent, you got to be careful about when people attach themselves to you, because they could be coming and attaching themselves to you because they like the gift in you, not necessarily liking you as the individual, right? So you have to be mindful with that gift of mercy, because like you said, you attract a lot of broken people to you. And I don't think the broken people, who's coming to you, I don't think they're aware of this, but they can think in their mind, oh yeah, she's cool, she's nice, but really they there for your gifting. They're there for the gifting. And you would know what's going on in their heart, because God will begin to reveal it to you. So I'm very mindful of that. And with the gift of mercy, you need strong boundaries. Okay. That I'm in a season where God is teaching me and developing strong boundaries around my gifts. He's been speaking to me, and like, don't allow people to just pull from you, just because, you know them or you cool with them. No, protect it, place boundaries around it. So you want to make sure you're doing that as well. But yeah, so discover your purpose, because purpose is going to reveal, discover your God-given purpose, because your God-given purpose is going to reveal vision and direction. Okay. And it helps you to not waste your time on the wrong one. Okay. When you ask the right question, you get to just wipe out, the Mr. Wrong, okay, to help you get to Mr. Right. All right. Number 6, the sixth way on how you can prepare for marriage is by loving yourself. Now, when we talk about loving yourself, to love anyone, I have to first know this individual that I'm loving, right? So when we talk about loving yourself, okay, while you're single, it's all about you taking the time out to get to know who you are, okay? And just getting to know yourself from the inside out. Because when you step into marriage, now this is one thing, when I first got married back in 2004, I didn't know myself, right? When I got married, his friends became my friends, okay? Whatever he like, I like, okay? I completely lost myself. Okay. So, and I really believe that was part of why the marriage came to an end, because I became needy. The very thing guys are scared of. They like, oh no, they don't want us to become needy. Okay. You got to become confident, secure, and, have your own life going on. But so that was something I began to learn immediately after that divorce. I was like, oh no, you would never get back into another marriage. You have to know yourself, Tequila. You have to know, all about yourself. You got to know how to fill your own self up, because when you don't know these things about yourself, like I said, I was showing up in needy ways, right? And you would show up like that with your husband, needy, pulling from him, expecting him to fulfill your every desire, and that's overwhelming. Okay. No person should, have to no one should have that pressure on them. Okay. So this time while you are single, you want to be taking the time out to learn everything about yourself. What do you like? What you don't like? Begin to learn what is your love language. How do you receive love? For me, I feel love when I'm in connection with people. I feel love when people do things for me, right? Like if you say I'm gonna come over, let's say I'm moving, and you tell me you're gonna help me move. Okay, keep your word and come on over here and help me move, right? And so when they keep their word and help me move, I feel love, I feel cared for, right? So acts of service is one of the things for me, and like quality time and being in connection with people. So you gotta know right now while you're single, what are the things that makes me feel love? And when you notice about yourself, now I can communicate this to my future spouse when we are in our courting process, right? Because again, we can't always get mad at the man. Well, you know, he doesn't really know me. Well, do you know you? And if you do know you, then help him to get to know you. Tell him, help him meet, your love needs, right? By communicating to him like, hey, thank you for the gift, but I really prefer if you would just sit here and give me some quality time, right? That's something I say. Like, thank you for the gift, but I really want quality time, Um, but that's what's needed, right? When you know yourself, then I can communicate to not only my spouse, but everyone in my life, how to, fill me up with love. Okay. Another thing is who are you at your core? Okay. Who does God say that you are? This is very important. Okay. You have to know who are you before you get into this marriage. Okay. What is your personality type? What type, who, like I said, who are you at your core? What is your character? What do I like? What I don't like? Um, Also, let's talk about that affection need, right? Because we have an affection need as women, right? Most women don't understand this about themselves, right? That affection need can show up and making you feel lonely. It can have you thinking or feeling like I just want some attention right now, or I feel unloved, right? Or rejected, right? All of these things are what it is basically speaking to you, affection. What you are desiring in this moment is affection. Okay. And so as single women, okay, you want to learn how to meet your own affection need. Because if you don't learn how to meet your own affection need while you're single, this is where you're going to find yourself picking up this phone, calling up exes. Hey, or you might find yourself on dating sites. Okay. Because you're not understanding, why this loneliness is coming up in you. You're not understanding why all of a sudden, I just feel, I feel so unlovable. I feel like, I need some attention right now. What you really need is to feel your affection, that tank back up, because it's on empty. It's like a gas tank. It's on E. When it get to E, you start feeling all the negative. But when you start filling it up, now you're taking that hand all the way over to the F, right? And now you're moving it to I feel content, I feel love, I feel good. I don't need anyone, you feel better, right? So you got to begin to figure out and learn, how that affection needs show up in you, okay? And how to meet it, okay? Because I always get asked the question, how do I deal with loneliness? I don't get lonely, because I fulfill loneliness with my purpose. I'm in purpose all day, every day. Okay. When I'm not, this is my purpose. When I'm not sitting right here, I'm tending to the kids or cleaning up this house. But outside of that, I'm right here. So I'm always in purpose. I'm always, fulfilling myself. I'm always, in a state of peace and contentment. Right. And so I never feel lonely. Right. I used to struggle with feelings of like unloved. Well, now that I understand, okay, how to meet my own love language, right? How to get it met, right? Because all I have to do, if I ever feel unloved, right? All I have to do is call up friends, like, one of my female friends, like, hey girl, let's go out to dinner, or let's go barroom dancing, right? I already know my love language is quality time. So whenever I feel unlovable, or I start feeling rejection, or just feeling like I'm missing that connection, I know how to meet it. right? Instead of me always turning to a man to meet it, only to develop a soul tie and then get myself entangled in this toxic relationship. No, I know how to meet this need. And so I'm gonna go ahead and give myself what is needing in this moment. I hope that's clear. So make sure you are taking the time out to love yourself. And when we talk about loving yourself, because there's so many different ways how I can teach this, but when we talk about loving yourself, take a look at the parts of your life or yourself where you may have been neglecting yourself in. Those are clues to that's telling you, that's letting you know, okay, I need to love myself a little bit more in this area. Another way how you can love yourself, okay, what are you tolerating in your life? Look at the areas or look at the things you're tolerating. That is telling you you need to love yourself a little bit more in this particular area, because you want to shift from tolerating to this is my standard. Okay. You either going to meet the standard or I'm no longer tolerating it. Right. So just begin, while you're single, start taking the time out, begin to assess your life, what's going on, where do I need to apply this self-love at within me, within my life, and then just move into action. Okay. Try to focus on, working on improving one area at a time so that you don't get all overwhelmed. Okay. But yeah, get to know yourself from the inside out. And the last one, number 7, on how to prepare for marriage is to get your house in order. Now, your house can represent many things. Your house can represent your soul. Your house can represent, the present house you live in. Your house can be your financial house. It can represent whatever, it needs to represent, but I want you to focus in on getting your house in order. So for your the house you live in, maybe for you want to take the time out, go throughout your home, start clearing out clutter. Okay, get organized. Right? If you have a lot of paper everywhere, you might want to go buy a file cabinet, organize your paperwork. Okay, get organized. Right? Clear out or throw away old pictures and stuff, just clear it out, clear all this stuff out. It's clutter. Okay. Another thing, when we talk about getting your house in order, if you have children, you want to prepare your children for marriage. Okay. Like prepare your children to go into this marriage. Right. And you don't necessarily got to know who this person is, but you're just, like partnering with God in this process. So that can look like, now I'm getting my children on a routine, right? I'm giving my children tasks for them to do. Okay. Because let's say right now, your children, they don't have any tasks, right? They just do whatever they want to do. They just wake up, play, eat, go to school, and that's it, right? And let's say tomorrow you get married to your husband. And then while you're married, you're telling your children, okay, do this, do that. Now you're giving them chores. They're going to automatically think, oh, mommy doing this because of this man. Now mommy being hard on me because she's married, or it's because of him, right? So you don't want them to take that mindset. So you want to start now, okay? Giving them their chores to do, get them on a routine, have them picking up behind themselves, like just establish order in the house, okay? Before your spouse come, so that they are already in that routine. They already know, okay, this is what is expected, right? When we talk about getting your financial house in order, again, that's where you're taking a look at your finances. You might want to take a look at your credit. You might want to start learning how to budget, right? Or even how to save, or even, just how to increase your income right now. I know last year, about the beginning of last year, that was my focus. Before God revealed who my God ordained spouse was, I was like, God, because after that last breakup, I was like, I'm done. I said, I'm done with men. I don't really want no man right now. I was like, I just want to focus on you, my children, and my purpose. That's it. That was my mindset. And so God, even though he still revealed who my God ordained spouse was, I'm like, no, I didn't want to know that yet. I just wanted to focus on this and grow in this area. But I'm still doing that now. Holly said, would God tell you someone is kingdom spouse that is going to prison for 20 years? I'll tell you this. Oh, I got so much going through my mind. Well, if you are wondering if this individual is your kingdom spouse and they are going to prison for 20 years, go back to God and ask God, for clarity and confirmation. Okay. I don't believe God will have you wait 20 years. I mean, he might, I don't want to box God in, but God really does reveal to you who your God ordained spouse is. Okay. We have to just, like I said, we got to know God's voice, be open to receiving whoever he say your God ordained spouse is. Okay. And I'll also say this, who God has chosen for you, that individual is going to be the opposite of what you're used to. Okay. They're going to be the opposite of what you're used to. And I'm not saying, you're not going to be attracted to the individual. What I am saying, if you are used to dating toxic men, this individual is going to know how to meet. They're going to know how to speak to your heart in a way other people couldn't speak, like touch your heart, right? It's just certain things about it. It's going to look totally different from what you're used to. Okay. But I would go back to God and ask God for clarity around this particular individual who's going to prison for 20 years. And yeah, I'll just keep it right there. I'll keep it right there. But yeah, but God really does tell you who your God ordained spouse is, and he will follow it up by giving you dreams, and he keep on revealing things to you about your spouse and the situation. Okay. But yeah, like I was saying, you want to take the time out, get your house in order, your finances in order, focus on growing your money, focus on getting out of debt, learning how to budget, just really prepare. You just really got to go into like a mindset of preparation. Okay. Whatever you are expecting from your spouse, begin to show up that way, begin to work on, whatever you need to work on, regarding that. So that's going to help you get prepared. Okay. But really clear out the clutter. I'm always cleaning out the clutter. The other day, let me tell you this. The other day, you're welcome, Holly. The other day, I heard the Lord tell me to get rid of some of my clothes. I was like, really? And then he told me why, and they were old clothes, but how you had your favorite outfits, but once he told me why, I was like, oh, okay, all right. So I was a little bit more willing to get rid of them, but clear out the clutter, whatever God is telling you to do, or however way he's telling you to prepare right now, do it. Okay. Because it's all about being in alignment with God. Okay. It's all about, you never know when God tells you to do something and you do it, you never know what door that's unlocking. Okay. That might push you like 2 more steps. Okay. Towards the promise. Okay. So we want to make sure we're preparing and doing the work. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up for Q&A. If you all have a question around how to prepare for your future marriage, you can post it down in the comment section. If you have any questions about like your kingdom spouse, how God reveals that to you, I'm free to answer your question. And again, like I said, it's other ways on how you can prepare. I just really wanted to focus in on these 7 ways. It's like, this is like step 1. Okay. Like the foundation, right? Valuing yourself. Okay. While you're single, don't allow everyone to just come and just play around with you. No, place higher value on your body. Understand your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, right? So you want to protect your temple. You want to start practicing self-discipline and self-control now, okay? If you're expecting for your God ordained spouse to, like save himself, go ahead and walk that out, okay? just walk that out with him. Second way on how we prepare for marriage is by cutting off and letting go of all the wrong relationships, okay? Because the wrong relationship will blind you to the right one when God sends that individual into your life, okay? The third way how we prepare is by building your relationship up with the Lord, okay? So you want to learn his voice. You want to be in daily communication with God. You want to start growing in your knowledge of the Lord, okay? And that can look like several different ways. Like I was saying, for me, I started reading, books such as this one, Joyce Meyer books. I also was taking classes, I was taking dream interpretation classes, a whole lot of stuff, just to help me grow in my knowledge of God. Another way we prepare is by healing your heart. Okay, you want to really go into just inner healing and deliverance. And I really didn't speak on deliverance, but if God brings it to your attention, you might have to go through deliverance. Okay, deliverance have to do with, calling out the evil spirits. I recommend, you start educating yourself on deliverance in that process. You can read books by John Eckhart. Cause that's where I started at. I purchased several of his books. I was reading them. I think it's called what is it called? Deliverance and Spiritual Warfare Manual. I think that's what it's called. But I started reading his books and educating myself on how to take myself through deliverance. And and I did that. Facebook user said, was just going to ask on if we should get deliverance. Yes, I believe everyone should get deliverance before you get married, because deliverance, like I said, I focus a lot on the evil spirits with deliverance, but deliverance can also be being delivered from certain strongholds, right? Certain mindsets, right? Demonic cycles, right? Things of that nature. So yes, I do recommend everyone should go through a level of deliverance. Begin to get an understanding of it, right? And when you really understand, we live in a demonic world, right? And there is such a thing as the devil, right? And his little workers, they do work through people. They influences people, okay? When you really understand this, you would know how to deal with it. You would move right into deliverance. That's why I speak on it so much, because it's a real thing. But yeah, and here's another thing, because for some women, you may think, or you may call yourself or refer to yourself or even think that you are a nympho, right? When really, okay, God revealed this to me early on, when really that desire, that drive that's causing you to desire sex to that extent, that's a demon. That's a spirit. You got to begin to call that thing up out of you, right? Because that's not really you showing up that way. That's a spirit, right? So we really, like I said, yeah, I recommend, everyone go through deliverance. I'm gonna take my God ordained spouse through deliverance. I was already talking to the Lord about it. Like, I got to make sure everything cleared out. I take my children through deliverance because it's real. It's real. But yeah, I recommend it. But you want to take the time out to heal your heart, heal from past wounds, past trauma, mother and father wound, heal the rejection, things of that nature. Number 5, discover your purpose. Discover your God-given purpose. I keep saying your purpose. Discover what your God-given purpose is, because your purpose, when you know what God has placed you here to do, that you're one step closer to identifying who your God ordained spouse is. And going back to Holly, if you know your purpose, then I would begin to, figure out what is this individual purpose is, the one that's going to prison for 20 years. That can help you, begin to get a understanding, some clarity around if this individual is my God ordained spouse or not. But your purpose, like I said, it does identify who your spouse is. It also reveals vision and direction. Okay, so if I know I'm going to the right, but this individual, the things that are coming out his mouth is communicating to me he's going the opposite direction of me, this might not be the one. And when we talk about counterfeits, because they look just like the one. They do. They know how to play their role. They know how to, look the part. But when you're in tune with the Lord, you're going to know. You're going to be like, nah, my man is telling me this isn't the one. It's going to be something that's going to be off, right? So you got to be in tune with that. Number 6, you want to love yourself. Take the time out to get to know all about who you are right now, okay? Know yourself from the inside out, okay? Just start spending time with yourself. Like, really love being alone with yourself, okay? A lot of people can't be alone with themselves. They stay busy, they got to be around people all the time. That's because you're running from yourself. When you take the time out to love yourself, you like yourself, you're content with yourself, you're ready. You're ready for marriage. Because now you already showing yourself, when I get married, I'm not going to be dependent on this individual to keep me happy or to always be in my company, all up under me, like, nah, go get a hobby or something, right? So we do this by, getting ourselves ready in our single season. You got to learn how to keep yourself, filled up, just create a life now, and just start loving your life. Okay. Facebook user said, if he's the one, you will have clarity, not confusion. That's all I had with my last partner. Well, let me tell you something. Because I used to think that way. I'm gonna tell you something, okay? I can't tell y'all the whole story, but I will share light into this, okay? I used to think the same way. When it's the one sent from God, there would be no confusion, no drama. It's just gonna flow. I used to think this way, okay? However, and I'm just speaking from experience, okay? When God tells you this is your God-ordained spouse, and there's confusion, if there's drama, if all hell breaks loose, I'm going to tell you what's going on, okay? Because it is possible for God to tell you this is your God-ordained spouse, and there's confusion, there's drama, there's, like spiritual warfare taking place. I'm going to tell you why, because number one, this is a God-ordained marriage. This is a God-ordained connection. So the devil is going to come up against it, and he's going to attack it because he's trying to stop it, right? You got to understand what I'm saying here. If this is God-ordained, if this is a God-ordained connection, these two individuals, the devil already know, wait a minute, because he don't know everything, but he already know God already has an assignment for her and him. And he know that assignment is to tear up his kingdom. So he's going to throw at you everything he got. Okay, he's going to attack it. He's going to try to tear down what God is trying to join together, right? Now, another thing I want to say, because when God reveals to you, and maybe I need to do it live on this, but when God reveals to you who your God-ordained spouse is, that's what it is in that moment, a revealing. God didn't say, y'all about to come together right now. You see what I'm saying? So he just, because sometimes God will present the woman to the man. It's up to him. It's up to his eyes to be open to see her, right? When a man finds a wife, he finds, favor from the Lord. So his eyes got to be open to seeing her and receiving what God is presenting to him, right? So if his eyes are closed, which means he's spiritually, I don't want to say that word. He's a prodigal. I'll say that. If his eyes are closed, he's probably a prodigal, which means he has turned away from the Lord, which also means this is why there's a lot of confusion, drama coming up, right? So in that moment, what I'm getting at, when God reveals to you, this is your God-ordained spouse, he just revealed that to you. He just, showed you this your spouse. He showed your spouse, that's your wife. He didn't say y'all about to get married right now. He didn't say, when this marriage is supposed to take place. He just did the presentation. That's it, the presenting, right? Because God already know. He know if, he know, this one right here is the believing one. They working on themselves. They in right standing with God. And this one right here is a prodigal, right? They have turned away from me. Something going on in their heart. God, he already noticed. And so even though he will reveal to you who your spouse is, again, he didn't say it's time for y'all to come together. Now, now let's say the two of you start trying to get something going. And if the heart not right, God gonna step in and cause a divine separation to happen between both of you, because what God has joined together, it got to come together and stay together. His word will not return back to him void, right? And then the Bible also say, can two walk together except they agree? So God can't have a believer and a non-believer trying to come into this God-ordained marriage together, right? So long story short, because I have a lot of wisdom in this particular this area, it's possible for God to reveal to you who your God-ordained spouse is, and confusion and drama show up. Understand why it's showing up, because this is a God-ordained joining. This is a God-ordained connection. So the devil is going to attack it. One of these individuals might be a prodigal. And so God has to deal with their heart, right? He got to deal with them face to face, right? To get them back in order, right? And then, it's all about God's timing. When we talk about God-ordained marriages, there's an appointed time for these marriages to come together, right? And this is why for some of my God-ordained spouses who are standing for your God-ordained prodigal spouse, this is why, you probably like, why is it taking God so long? Well, no, it's an appointed time for your marriage to come together. It's not time yet. So continue to prepare, continue to, wait on God, continue to do whatever he's telling you to do. It's a set time for this marriage to come together. But I might have to do a whole nother live on this because I had that same mindset. I was like, oh no, when God revealed the one, it's going to be easy. It's going to flow. It's going to be peaceful. Not always. Not always. And then you got to take a look at too, your assignment that's on your life. I know with me, my life always been hard ever since I came out the womb. Okay. I mean, the devil always just been fighting me. Okay. And I understand it now because of the calling that's on my life. Right. I know what God has called me to do, and what to tear down and all this other stuff. So the devil, depending on your calling and your spouse calling, he's coming. He's coming to try to stop this. Okay. He's coming. So this is why God, have people such as myself and other people coming, right here on YouTube with these messages, trying to get everyone ready, bringing wisdom and knowledge to these things, because the enemy's coming, but you don't have to fear him. Okay. You don't have to fear him. Facebook users say, wow, I never thought that was the case with my child's father, except I think God was telling me no instead of keep trying. Looking back, but this time I don't want to know anything until God is done working on my husband. Right. Yeah. And you would know. Let me tell you something. You would, when God is telling you no, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Like I said, if it's not the time, okay, if this is your God-ordained spouse, if your baby's father is your God-ordained spouse, and God is telling you no, right? And if there's a divine separation, because God should continue to be speaking to you about this being your God-ordained spouse, and what God is doing in him and you in this situation. If God isn't revealing or speaking to any of these things to you, I would recommend for you to go back and ask God for confirmation. Is this really the one? Because he should be revealing more to you. Okay. I know with my children's father, one in particular, God first said, let him go. And I was like, okay, how am I supposed to let him go? And he the father of my child, right? That was my question to the Lord. And then when I was hard-headed, God, I started sensing God telling me to surrender. not fully understanding what he was really, why he was really telling me to do this, because God knew what was in my heart. He knew my heart at that time desired to like be married to this individual. But God was telling me, let him go, because that's not the one who I assigned to your life. That's not the one I chose for you. This is a counterfeit, right? And I'm a counterfeit as long as I was trying to be with him. And then when God told me to surrender, he was like, surrender, Tequila. Like, you about to get into something I didn't call you into, right? So it wasn't until I had just, released everything, I had to surrender to what God was telling me. That's when God revealed to me who my God ordained spouse, is. And I had already, I already known this individual. I just didn't know that was my spouse. But yeah, I would go back to God and see if He's telling you no, it's for a reason. Yeah, but also understand and know, when God reveals to you who your spouse is, He's going to start dealing with you. Okay. He's going to start telling you, okay, I need you to work on this. I need you to do this. I need you to improve here. I need you to mature here. So he's going to be working on him as well. But you're going to be feeling like, why are you all over here, Lord? Like, get him. Okay. But God going to be dealing with you. So, but yeah. Yep. But yeah, yep. And number 7, get your house in order. That was the last thing. Get your house in order. So I asked God if he was okay, hold up. I asked God if he was the one, and the next day my child's father broke up with me. But prior to that, we broke up on and off because I felt convicted that he might not be genuine about his work. Well, yeah, there you go right there. See, that's God revealing to you what's going on in his heart. He's a prodigal. Okay. You're a child's father, a prodigal, and God is showing you, his fruit. So believe what God is showing you. And then here's the thing. Even when God, cause a divine separation to happen, when this is God ordained, God know how to bring it back together. Okay. So it doesn't matter, if he broke up with you, this and that, he might not be the one, that might not be who God has for you. But God is showing you his fruit, what's in his heart. So take notice of that. Holly said, I felt like God kept nudging to reach out to a man I used to date when younger. And as I went to meet him, I kept thinking of the scripture, to not awaken love before it's time. Yes. I thought that was God. I thought that God was revealing my kingdom spouse to me, but I could have been wrong, but haven't received a lot of clarity confirmation yet, besides little things and seeing his initials places. Here's what I would say. You're right about not awakening love before it's time. Because like I said, when God reveals to you who your God ordained spouse is, and this goes back to what I was saying for number 2, cut off and let go of the wrong relationship, because when God revealed this is your God ordained spouse, that's just what God is doing in that moment. He just revealing this to both of you, right? And your God ordained spouse, they could be in a whole nother relationship. Their heart can be connected to someone from their past, right? And even though they can be hearing God say that's your spouse, but because their heart is connected to someone else, that's why that scripture say, do not awaken love before it's time. It's not time yet, right? And so you just want to be following that leading of God. And just allow God to work. If he presented it, okay, that was a presentation. That's it. God know how to bring it together. He know how to, even if the other person doesn't even know you are his wife, right? God know how to reveal it to him, even if they in a whole nother relationship. God know how. Yeah. See, when we talk about God ordained marriages, God ordained spouses, we have to keep God in the middle of it all throughout this process. This is why I keep coming on here and I keep saying, build your relationship up with the Lord. Learn God's voice, because we got to have him in the center of this whole process, because he's the one guiding, he's the one leading, he's the one giving instructions, right? He's the one dealing with mindsets and thought patterns, right? So we got to keep him in the middle of it and be listening to what he is telling us, paying attention to what he is showing us, right? And when your God ordained spouse receive the revelation that you are his wife, he will come and choose you. All you got to do as wives, all we do is stand there, just allow God to present us. That's it. We don't have to track them down. We don't got to call. We don't got to, we don't even have to tell them, hey, I'm your God ordained spouse. We don't got to do any of these things. God is going to do all of that. God said you stay in position as a wife, and he's going to have your husband come and pursue you. That's it. That's all we have to do. Yep. So, yes, ma'am, right now, all I care about is God, my purpose and spiritual walk, and raising the arrow he gave me. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And that's how God wants us to be. He don't want us really focus in on he want us like aware that he's bringing us into these God ordained marriages, but he don't want you focused on the spouse and what they're doing and who they're doing it with. No, he want our mindset on God, on, the things that we got to, do in our everyday lives, your children, your household, your purpose, your spiritual development, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when we focus more on, and I think I did a video on this, when we focus more on the God ordained spouse, they can become an idol, in our life. And so that's when God got to step in, correct you, all this stuff taking place. So, oh yeah. But we're going to have many more talks about this, getting everyone prepared, because that is my assignment, to help Christian singles get prepared to walk into their God ordained marriages. Yeah. So we're gonna. Who was there who asked that question? It was the Facebook user. I'm glad you said about when you meet your spouse. If there's confusion, this and that, it won't be any of that, because like I said, I had that mindset, but I understand it differently now. Yeah, and I understand this process. Yeah, so that's it. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up our live. I think I got a session in about 30 minutes. But listen, so we just talked about 7 ways on how to prepare for marriage while single. If this is your first time tuning in, make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel. If you have any questions after this live is over, you can send me your questions by heading over to God Ordained Marriages with an S at the end.com and click on that contact form, and you can send me the messages from over there. Okay. We're going to start adding more content to the website. There's more things to come. Okay. So just be on the lookout for that. So until then, everyone have a great rest of your afternoon, and I'll talk to you all real soon. All right. Take care.